What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with what will be my official free agency recap / wrap-up video for the NBA for 2016. So I've talked about free agency just an absolute lot, over the last few weeks. And I thought that it deserved a pretty good wrap-up. Yeah, it's not completely over yet. Yeah, I'll probably make a video to talk about some of the bigger deals for free agents left. Like, there were some big ones today. Gerald Green, Tyler Zeller. But those will just be general news videos. I'm pretty much done with announcing free agency just by itself. So I'm going to do a couple different categories here. Now, if you want to see my entire free agency wrap-up video analysis and everything, you can go check out my website. The link to the entire blog post will be in the description below. The link will be in the description below. So I'm going to do a couple categories here. I'm going to do biggest signing, most overpaid, best value, most overlooked, best resigning, most surprising, worst move, best move, biggest winner, and biggest loser as teams. So I'm going to be doing quite a few categories. So again, let's jump right into it. Start with the biggest signing. Start off with a big one, and I'm gonna say Kevin Durant. Obviously, this one's not hard to figure out. You know, I thought he was gonna go back to the Thunder on a 2-year player option after the first year, like most people thought. But again, the Warriors move's not a surprising one. You know, he looked very good in the Team USA game yesterday. Even though I live in Oklahoma now, I'm in the firm belief. I'm not a Thunder fan, though. I'm just around a bunch of... honestly, Thunder fans have kind of moved on since then. It's good to see. As long as they hang on to Russ, I think they'll be fine. But, again, I don't mind his move. Like, he's a grown-ass man. He can do what he wants. But, you know, big pickup for the Warriors. Obviously, you pick up one of the arguably top 3 players in the game today. Surprisingly, adding to an already record-breaking championship caliber team, then hard to beat that move. Most overpaid, and this one's obvious to me, it's Timofey Mozgov. So there's a couple of candidates here. You know, there were just as many bad moves as there were good this offseason, as pretty much always. But with the spike salary cap, there were a lot of role players, a lot of players that got paid a lot more than they should have. And for me, again, it's Mozgov to start. You know, the Lakers had big intentions of landing guys like DeMar DeRozan, Hassan Whiteside this offseason, Harrison Barnes, and they weren't able to land. I don't know how much they were actually chasing after Harrison Barnes. I think it was just a rumor. But either way, really didn't land any of them. Instead, they got Timofey Mozgov. They got a good young core moving forward, but again, I don't like that signing at all. I believe it was 4 years, $64 million, just completely overpaid. So, best value, and I got 4 here because there was really no one that really stood out to me as best value signing. There were a lot of really good ones that I can mention here. A few that didn't make the list: Jared Sullinger or Al Jefferson, Langston Galloway, another one, Matthew Dellavedova. All of those were very good value signings, but those weren't the best value signings. These were the absolute best in my mind. There were 4 of them. Zaza Pachulia, signing him for a 1-year, $3 million deal, absolute steal. He'll be in the Warriors starting 5 most likely. David West signed for a 1-year, $1.55 million contract. It's unbelievably cheap. Festus Ezeli, you know, the Portland Trailblazers got a starting quality center who can possibly be a top 20 center in this league. He's shown that potential for 2 years, around $14.5 to $15 million. And Leandro Barboza. This one's probably not going to be mentioned too much, but I really like Leandro Barboza as a player. He was a big key to the Warriors' depth, and you know, him going back to the Phoenix Suns for only $4 million a year. If the Suns do actually somehow make a playoff push this year, he adds depth to a backcourt that's already got some young talent. And then also, I think bringing that experience to a guy that seems like one of the best up and coming players in the NBA at the same position as Devin Booker, having someone like Leandro Barboza to, you know, maybe help him out, mentor him a little bit, I think that's a big thing. So most overlooked to me is Festus Ezeli, just because you add a young, high ceiling center in Ezeli to a team that's already young and looking ahead, like the Portland Trailblazers. Again, it could be a powerful combination. Best re-signing, and I've got 3 of them, because because I believe there were 3 really major re-signings that weren't talked about enough this offseason. First one, Andre Drummond. So, obviously the face of the franchise in Detroit. This is a guy that, if Detroit stockpiles a little bit around him, I think can eventually lead them to an NBA Finals. I really believe he's that good. I think Andre Drummond is easily one of the top 5 centers in this league. Debatably top 3. He just got to improve the free throw shooting. Top 3 right now might be pushing it. It depends on if you qualify Anthony Davis as a center or a power forward. I think if you take Anthony Davis out, then the top 3 would be Karl Anthony Towns, DeMarcus Cousins, and Andre Drummond. But either way, second best re-signing to me, DeMar DeRozan. I didn't think he was going to stay in Toronto. I really thought he was going to leave for LA. That's what it seemed like to me and a lot of other people. Obviously that didn't happen. He re-signed to Toronto, for a pretty high amount, obviously. But again, it's DeMar DeRozan. And in my opinion, best player on the Raptors. He didn't get signed for as much as Mike Conley. 5 years, $145 million. The thing is, the Raptors kept a competitive team together. That's the important part for them. And then third one is James Harden. So, more or less I believe it was a restructuring of the contract, or just an extension. But 4 years, $118 million for one of the, granted still a lot, but for one of the best players in the NBA today, and in an NBA situation, especially for a player like James Harden that, attracts a decent amount of media attention, in a day where so many players are leaving for new destinations, it seems like every single day, or not every single day, every single year, it's good that Houston got their superstar locked up for at least a couple years. All right, so most surprising, and most people would probably say Kevin Durant, but I'm going to say Dwayne Wade just because it's hard to picture him in a different uniform going to what is a brand new look Chicago Bulls team between obviously Rondo and Dwayne Wade. It's going to be weird to see them in Bulls uniforms next year and playing as a combination in the same starting 5. But again, he's going home. It's just weird that he's not going to be with Miami. So, worst move, and this is a combination of 2 moves to me, and this is the 2 moves the Houston Rockets made. I'm not saying these guys are bad players. I'm just saying they're not worth the money. First one is Eric Gordon. Second one is Ryan Anderson. Eric Gordon, I believe, was like a 4-year, $53 million contract. Just not worth it for Eric Gordon. And then next one, Ryan Anderson, who did have a breakout year with I believe they did get both players from the Pelicans. Or both players were former Pelicans. And Ryan Anderson, granted, like I said, breakout year, good stretch 4. Not worth $20 million. Sorry, I got cut off there. But talking about Ryan Anderson, like I said, $20 million a year, that's close to star money. Actually, that is star money. And to me, again, Ryan Anderson had a breakout year. I believe he deserved a little, or obviously more money than he was making, but is in like $15 million, max. The Rockets did need a new power forward. I'll give them that. But again, I don't know. Having a guy that's, career hasn't been a great player he's been good, not great. Well, just for having one breakout year with the Pelicans, a team that didn't even make the playoffs, that's a lot to invest into. Like I said, just not a good set of moves in my opinion. So, best move to me overall, Kevin Durant. There's no doubt about that. When you can acquire a player that immediately makes you as overwhelming of a championship favorite as the Warriors are now, like the championship odds this year are stupid. I know that it's 2-3. So if you bet, obviously that means if you bet on the Warriors just straight up to win the championship, you will, even if they win, you will lose your money. I believe that there's a better odds right now for the Warriors to win the NBA Finals than any other team. Again, most of y'all know that if you're big NBA fans. That's pretty much a no-brainer at this point. But they opened the Warriors and the Cavs. The Warriors did open as the favorites, but not by 2-3. They were like, I believe it was like 3 to, or like 2.5 to 1, or like 3 to 2, or something like that, depending on which If you looked at Las Vegas Sportsbook, which is the main one, or Las Vegas Superbook, that was the main one. I believe they were 3-2 odds, but there were a couple that had them like 2.5 or 2-1. A little bit higher odds. But again, any one move that makes you do that, even considering they lost depth, great move. Biggest winners. So I'm gonna have 2 biggest winners and 2 biggest losers. Biggest winners to me are maybe the 2 teams that had the biggest signings of free agents that moved teams. And that's the Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics. So it's not that arguable that the 2 best free agents that went to other teams are Al Horford and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant obviously being the best of them. But, let's see if we can look through it here. Yeah. Maybe you could argue Dwayne Wade. That's about it, though. I'd still take Al Horford over Dwayne Wade at this point, though. So, the Boston Celtics finally added that star that they needed, especially in the front court. Does it make them the championship favorites in the East? No. But it slots them in that top 2, top 3 that they want to be at, where they're just on the brink of being able to challenge the Cavs. Once again, funny to see even all these years later, it's still the Cavs and the Celtics. There will be other teams competing, there's no doubt. The Raptors might still, in a lot of people's eyes, be the second favorite right now. The Pacers made some big splash moves this offseason, really beefed up their team in a big way. A lot of people are expecting the Pistons to step up this year, and including myself, there's no doubt about that. And then, I really think the Hawks are a team that is actually pretty good. So, either way. Golden State Warriors, I just went on a whole tangent about why they were one of the biggest winners. If you're a basketball fan, you already know why. So, biggest losers. This one was hard because there wasn't really any direct loser of free agency. You could say the Thunder, that might be an obvious answer, but I don't think the Thunder lost enough to where you would consider them a huge loser. Because there was actually a big deal where I think they, actually kind of won. And that was the whole Oladipo, Ilyasova, Domantas Sabonis deal. All they really had to give up was Serge Ibaka. For 3 players, I think Oladipo straight up for Ibaka still would have been advantage Thunder, but, I like Ibaka. I think he's a good player, but I think Oladipo has more potential. I think he's on a better track, and I think he was actually a straight up better player right now, especially in the Thunder situation where maybe their weakest point on their starting 5 was shooting guard. Anyway, I haven't even said the biggest winner or biggest losers yet. 1, the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets, I think they overspent a little bit on Batum. A little bit, not too, it was good they could get him re-signed. 5 years, $120 million, maybe not to that degree though. They lost Jeremy Lin, who was a big part of their team last year, no doubt. They lost Al Jefferson. They really didn't make any enormous signings. Let me just make sure I am right about this. They lost Courtney Lee, which that was a while ago anyway. And then they re-signed Marvin Williams. And to replace Al Jefferson, they signed Roy Hibbert, who's in my opinion is a major downsize there. You know what? I'm not trying to hate on the Hornets. I mean, I'm wearing a Hornets jersey right now. I can't really hate on them too much, but while this team I still firmly believe can be a playoff team, I think they got worse. I think they got a whole lot worse. There's some people that have the Hornets ranked as low as 22 to 25 in their power rankings right now, where the Hornets finished as a competitive 6th seed in the East last year. Young team should have been on the up and coming. So, my other biggest loser, and this one's a big one, the Orlando Magic. Man, you got a good front court. There's no doubt about that, but Jesus Christ, man, add to your backcourt. The Orlando Magic's balance in their starting 5 right now is very sad, just because they're looking like the Detroit Pistons of a couple years ago. If y'all remember that Detroit Pistons just absolute mess between Josh Smith, Greg Monroe, and Andre Drummond. I really did not like the Bismack Biyombo signing. I think that it's a good situation for him, but Biyombo, they didn't need him in the first place. Second of all, for 4 years, $72 million, you could have done a lot better. But just looking at the front court right now, it's just too jam-packed. You know, you draft Steven Zimmerman. That scared the crap out of me. Sorry about that. Sometimes on the rosters I'm looking at, ads come up. All right. Front court, you got Serge Ibaka, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Vucevic, Bismack Biyombo, and Steven Zimmerman. All in the front court. You've got 5 guys who could all start for quite a few teams in the NBA. All in the front court. Back court, Elfrid Payton, Mario Hezonja, and Evan Fournier. You know, it could be worse. You know, I really like Fournier as a player. I think they overpaid for him also. I don't think he's a starter, though. Hezonja, we'll see. I think he still has a lot of upside to reach. See if Jody Meeks is even ready for the season behind Hezonja, who's pretty much their, their insurance policy for Hezonja. And then Elfrid Payton's a decent point guard, but again, not a starting quality point guard. You lost your spark for the offense in the backcourt in Victor Oladipo, who you really should have kept and built around. You know, I don't know how much longer Vucevic is going to be in Orlando either. Trade rumors, I've heard quite a few things about it. I want to see if I can find anything. You know, It's been a small rumor, but there's definitely been rumors about it. In 2 years, I really don't think Vucevic is still going to be there. But either way, I think the Orlando Magic are one of the biggest losers because they were on the come up for sure, and I don't know if they are anymore. I think they just took a big step backward because even with Serge Ibaka, it's a 1-year rental in my opinion. He does not look like he wants to be in Orlando. But either way, that pretty much concludes my free agency wrap-up for 2016. Just wanted to put it all into one video. I might do more like, top 10 best or biggest value signings and top 10 most overpaid. I might actually do that so I can outline it in a little bit more detail. There were a lot of players that I just mentioned that I would like to talk more about in their situations. But again, I'll be doing a lot of videos between now and when the season starts, so I'll have plenty of time to talk about it anyway. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Oh, follow me on Twitter, Instagram. All that'll be in the description below. That's pretty much it. See ya.